Chapter 3. Your Eternal Connection. Day 11. The Relationship You Forgot. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words that they are mine. Bhagavad-Gita 4:35. You have amnesia about the most important relationship in your existence. Imagine waking up in a hospital with no memory of who you are. The doctors tell you your name, show you photos of your family, explain your profession, but none of it feels real. You go through the motions of your life, but there's always this nagging sense that something essential is missing. That's exactly your current situation, except the forgotten relationship isn't with another human being. It's with the source of your very existence. The original relationship. The Bhagavad-Gita reveals that you have an eternal relationship with Krishna that predates everything else in your experience. Before you were American or Indian, before you were male or female, before you had any material identity at all, you existed in relationship with the Supreme. This isn't a relationship you need to create, it's one you need to uncover. It's always been there, buried under layers of forgetfulness and false identification. Think of it like this. You don't create your relationship with your biological parents, you discover it. Even if you were separated at birth and raised by others, that biological connection remains. Similarly, your relationship with Krishna exists whether you acknowledge it or not. The 5 primary relationships. The Vedic texts describe 5 primary ways souls relate to Krishna in the spiritual world, called rasas. 1. Santarasa, neutral peaceful appreciation of God's greatness. 2. Dasyarasa, servitude active service with reverence. 3. Sakyarasa, friendship intimate friendship as equals. 4. Vatsalyarasa, parental protective, nurturing love toward Krishna. 5. Madhuryarasa, conjugal the most intimate loving relationship. Each soul has their own unique relationship with Krishna, their own particular way of exchanging love with him. This relationship is not assigned or imposed. It's inherent in your spiritual identity. Why you don't remember? So why don't you remember this relationship? The Gita explains that when we desired to enjoy separately from Krishna, to be the center of our own existence rather than part of his, we entered the material world. This world is specifically designed to allow us that illusion of independence. It's like a virtual reality game so immersive that you forget you're playing. You become so absorbed in your temporary role that you forget your actual identity and relationships. The symptoms of separation. That chronic sense of loneliness that no amount of human company can cure? That's separation from Krishna. The feeling that something is missing even when everything is going well? That's your soul remembering its natural position. The search for perfect love that no earthly relationship quite fulfills? That's your heart seeking its original beloved. We try to fill this Krishna-shaped hole with everything else. Career success, romantic relationships, family bonds, achievements, possessions. But nothing fits quite right because nothing else is meant to go there. The impersonal mistake. Some spiritual paths teach that the ultimate goal is to merge into an impersonal spiritual light, to lose all individual identity and relationships. The Gita firmly rejects this idea. Krishna states clearly that both he and all individual souls maintain their distinct identities eternally. The spiritual world isn't about losing yourself. It's about finding your true self in relationship with the Supreme Self. Relationships. Every relationship you experience in this world is actually a perverted reflection of relationships that exist perfectly in the spiritual world. The love between friends, the bond between parent and child, the intimacy between lovers. These are all shadows of the perfect relationships souls have with Krishna. That's why earthly relationships simultaneously attract and frustrate us. They promise what only the original relationship can deliver. They're like watching a movie about water when you're thirsty. It reminds you of what you need but can't actually satisfy the need. The way back. The beautiful thing is that you can begin reviving your relationship with Krishna right now, right where you are. You don't have to wait until you're spiritual enough, or until you leave this world. The relationship can be awakened through practice, specifically Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. Every time you chant Krishna's names, you're calling out to him. Every time you offer your food to him before eating, you're acknowledging him. Every time you do your work as service to him, you're relating to him. These simple acts gradually clear away the amnesia. Tomorrow's discovery. Understanding that you have an eternal relationship with Krishna is just the beginning. Tomorrow we're going to explore how this relationship is actually the solution to every problem you've ever had. You're about to discover why trying to solve your problems without addressing this primary relationship is like trying to water the leaves of a tree while ignoring the root. Day 12. The root solution to every problem. One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. Bhagavad-Gita 6:30. What if every problem in your life has the same root cause? We spend our lives playing whack-a-mole with our problems. Fix the money situation and relationship issues pop up. Solve the relationship problems and health concerns emerge. Address the health issues and career dissatisfaction surfaces. It never ends. But the Bhagavad Gita reveals something profound. All these apparently different problems have a single root cause: disconnection from Krishna. And that means they all have a single root solution. The tree analogy. Imagine a tree with thousands of leaves and each leaf is turning brown. You could spend your entire life painting the leaves green, spraying them with nutrients, trying to fix each one individually. Or you could just water the root. Your relationship with Krishna is the root of your existence. Every other relationship, every other aspect of your life, is like a leaf on that tree. When the root relationship is dry, every leaf suffers. When the root is nourished, every leaf flourishes. Why material solutions don't work. Think about humanity's approach to solving problems. We develop technology to make life easier, but stress increases. We create medicine to cure diseases, but new ailments emerge. We establish systems for peace, but conflicts multiply. We pursue prosperity, but satisfaction decreases. Why? Because we're trying to solve spiritual problems with material solutions. It's like trying to cure hunger by eating photographs of food. No matter how realistic the photos, they can't nourish you. The 4 fundamental problems. The Gita identifies 4 fundamental problems of material existence: birth, death, old age, and disease. Every other problem is just a variation or consequence of these 4. And here's the thing: no amount of material advancement can solve any of them. Science might delay death but can't prevent it. Medicine might ease disease but can't eliminate it. Cosmetics might hide aging but can't stop it. Technology might make birth safer but can't remove its trauma. These problems exist because we're spiritual beings trying to live in a material world while disconnected from our spiritual source. It's like a fish trying to be happy on dry land. No amount of adjustment will work because the fundamental situation is wrong. The relationship restoration. When you reconnect with Krishna, something amazing happens. The fundamental problems start losing their sting. Not because they magically disappear, but because your consciousness shifts to a platform where they can't touch your real self. It's like discovering you've been having a nightmare. The moment you wake up, the dream problems, no matter how terrifying they seemed, instantly lose their power over you. You're still aware they existed in the dream, but they can't actually harm you. The practical magic. Here's where it gets practical. When your Krishna consciousness is strong, financial problems transform from sources of anxiety into opportunities for simplicity and dependence on Krishna. Your relationship conflicts become chances to practice forgiveness and see Krishna in others. Health challenges shift from disasters to reminders of the body's temporary nature and the soul's eternality. The career frustrations evolve from identity crises into clarity about real purpose versus temporary roles. You still deal with these situations, but from a completely different consciousness. You're solving them from above rather than from within. The automatic benefits. The Gita describes an amazing phenomenon. When you water the root of a tree, every part of the tree is automatically nourished. Similarly, when you serve Krishna, every other aspect of your life is automatically fulfilled. You don't have to separately fix your relationships, your career, your health, your finances. Focus on your relationship with Krishna, and watch how everything else starts falling into place. Not always how you expected, but always how you actually need. The peace formula. Krishna gives a peace formula in the Gita. Recognize him as the ultimate enjoyer of all activities, the supreme proprietor of everything, and the best friend of every living being. When you truly understand these 3 points, peace automatically follows. Why? Because the source of all agitation is trying to be the enjoyer, owner, and center of your existence. When you recognize Krishna's actual position, you can relax into your natural position. The struggle ends. Real-world examples. I've seen this work countless times. People drowning in problems who started seriously practicing Krishna consciousness. They didn't become problem-free, but they became problem-proof. Their external situations often improved, but more importantly, their internal experience transformed completely. The executive who was miserable at the peak of success found joy in simple service. The mother overwhelmed by family demands discovered peace in seeing her service as worship. The student paralyzed by future uncertainties found clarity in present devotion. The single-pointed solution. This doesn't mean you ignore practical responsibilities. You still go to work, pay bills, take care of your health. But you do it all in relationship with Krishna, as service to Krishna, in consciousness of Krishna. It's like the difference between juggling 100 balls versus holding one rope that's connected to all the balls. Focus on the rope, Krishna consciousness, and all the balls, life's various aspects, are automatically managed. Tomorrow's upgrade. Now you understand that reconnecting with Krishna is the root solution. Tomorrow we're going to explore how this relationship completely redefines success, failure, happiness, and fulfillment. You're about to discover why everything you've been taught about achieving happiness is backwards, and why that's actually good news. Day 13. Redefining success. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Bhagavad-Gita 269. You've been measuring your life with the wrong scorecard. Society handed you a checklist. Good education, respectable career, financial security, happy family, nice house, exotic vacations, comfortable retirement. Check all the boxes and you win at life. Right? But here's what nobody mentions. Plenty of people check all the boxes and still feel empty. Meanwhile, some people with barely any boxes checked radiate a joy that money can't buy. The Bhagavad Gita explains why. You've been measuring material accumulation when you should be measuring consciousness development. You've been counting temporary coins while ignoring eternal treasures. The great success illusion. Think about what society calls successful people. They've accumulated wealth, achieved recognition, built impressive resumes. But the Gita offers a different perspective. If someone gains the whole world but remains in material consciousness, they've actually failed at the purpose of human life. It's like someone spending their entire life collecting monopoly money, feeling proud of their millions while never realizing it has no value outside the game. Material success is the monopoly money of existence. It seems important while you're in the game, but it's worthless when the game ends. The real scorecard. According to the Gita, real success is measured by consciousness quality. Are you in anxiety or peace? Fear or love? Confusion or clarity? Service attitude. Are you taking or giving? Exploiting or contributing? Consuming or serving? Spiritual progress. Are you more attached or more free? More identified with matter or more aware of spirit? Relationship with Krishna. Are you moving closer to or further from your source? These metrics might seem abstract, but they're actually more real than your bank balance. Your bank balance disappears at death. Your consciousness continues. The happiness paradox. Here's the paradox that breaks people's minds. The more you chase happiness directly, the more it eludes you. But when you stop chasing happiness and start serving Krishna, happiness chases you. It's like trying to catch your shadow. Run toward it and it runs away. Turn your back and walk toward the light and your shadow follows automatically. Krishna is the light. Happiness is the shadow. Success redefined. Real success isn't about what you accumulate but about what you contribute. It's not about what you achieve but about who you become. It's not about reaching destinations but about the consciousness of your journey. A street sweeper who works in Krishna consciousness is more successful than a CEO who works for sense gratification. A simple mother cooking for her family as an offering to Krishna accomplishes more than a celebrity chef cooking for fame. This isn't sentimentalism, it's spiritual science. Actions performed in Krishna consciousness create eternal benefit. Actions performed for material gain create temporary results that bind you further to illusion. The failure that isn't. The Gita completely redefines failure too. If you sincerely try to develop Krishna consciousness but don't achieve perfection in this lifetime, you haven't failed. You carry that spiritual progress forward. It's like a savings account that follows you beyond death. But if you achieve every material goal while ignoring your spiritual development, that's actual failure because none of those achievements follow you beyond this body. It's like spending your life decorating a hotel room you're about to check out of. The joy that doesn't depend. When your happiness depends on material circumstances, you're always vulnerable. The economy crashes, relationships end, health fails, beauty fades. Your happiness rises and falls with circumstances beyond your control. But when your joy comes from your relationship with Krishna, you become circumstance-proof. You can be joyful in a palace or a prison, in success or failure, in health or sickness. Not because you're pretending circumstances don't matter, but because you're connected to something that transcends circumstances. The practical shift. This doesn't mean rejecting material responsibilities. You still work, but as service. You still earn, but as a trustee rather than owner. You still achieve, but for Krishna's pleasure rather than ego gratification. The external activities might look the same, but the internal experience is completely different. It's like the difference between pushing a car and driving it. Same motion, vastly different effort and result. Tomorrow's secret. Now you understand how Krishna consciousness redefines success and happiness. Tomorrow we're going to explore the most misunderstood aspect of spiritual life: renunciation. You're about to discover why real renunciation has nothing to do with moving to a cave, and everything to do with a mental shift you can make now. Day 14. Keep everything, own nothing. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Bhagavad-Gita 5:10. Everyone gets renunciation completely wrong. When most people hear spiritual renunciation, they picture monks in caves giving away possessions, abandoning family, rejecting the world. They think spirituality means less enjoyment, less engagement, less life. But the Bhagavad Gita reveals something revolutionary. Real renunciation isn't about what you physically give up. It's about a consciousness shift that lets you keep everything while owning nothing. The lotus leaf technology. The Gita uses a perfect metaphor: the lotus leaf. It lives in water, surrounded by water, functioning in water, yet water never sticks to it. Every droplet rolls right off. That's how you can live in the material world. Fully engaged, completely responsible, actively participating, while remaining unattached and unaffected. You don't have to leave the water. You just have to become like the lotus leaf. The ownership illusion. Here's the delusion that traps everyone. We think we own things. My house, my car, my money, my family. But ownership is the greatest illusion in material existence. You didn't own anything before you were born. You won't own anything after you die. And even while you're alive, ownership just means temporary management. Everything you own is actually on loan from the universe, and the universe will recall that loan without asking your permission. Real renunciation means recognizing this truth and living accordingly. The trustee consciousness. Instead of owner, become a trustee. A trustee manages assets that belong to someone else. They use them responsibly, maintain them properly, even benefit from them, but never forget who the actual owner is. When you see yourself as Krishna's trustee rather than an independent owner, everything changes. You still live in your house, but as Krishna's facility. You still earn money, but as Krishna's resource. You still care for your family, but as Krishna's service. The stuff stays the same. The consciousness transforms completely. The freedom in non-ownership. Here's what's counterintuitive. Owning nothing makes you richer than owning everything. When you're an owner, you're anxious about loss, stressed about maintenance, worried about protection. Ownership creates fear. But when you're a trustee, you're free. If Krishna wants to increase the assets under your management, fine. If he wants to decrease them, also fine. You do your duty either way, but your peace doesn't depend on the outcome. The engagement principle. Some spiritual paths teach that you should become detached by not caring, not feeling, not engaging fully. The Gita teaches the opposite. Engage fully but without attachment to results. Work with excellence but not for the fruits. Love deeply but without possessiveness. Enjoy life's pleasures, but as Krishna's mercy rather than your conquest. This isn't less engagement. It's more engagement with less anxiety. The mental renunciation. Real renunciation happens in the mind, not in lifestyle changes. A person living in a palace with trustee consciousness is more renounced than someone in a cave who's mentally obsessed with what they gave up. This is why Krishna says that renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation, but work in devotion is better. Why? Because it's practical, sustainable, and doesn't create the subtle pride of "look how renounced I am." The attachment test. Here's how you know if you're attached. How do you react when things are taken away? If losing your position, possessions, or relationships devastates you, you're attached. If you accept changes as Krishna's arrangement, you're free. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless. Feel the emotions, experience the human response, but don't let temporary losses shake your eternal foundation. Tomorrow's practice. Understanding renunciation intellectually is one thing. Tomorrow we're going to explore the actual practice that develops this consciousness. Karma Yoga, the art of working without working. You're about to discover how to turn every action into meditation and every job into spiritual practice. Day 15. The art of working without working. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Bhagavad-Gita 4:18. This single verse contains the secret to stress-free success. Imagine being able to work with total focus and excellence, but without any anxiety about results. Imagine giving your absolute best effort while remaining completely peaceful about outcomes. Imagine achieving more than ever before while feeling less pressure than ever before. This isn't a fantasy. It is Karma Yoga, the art of action in Krishna consciousness. The right without rights. The Gita's formula is revolutionary. You have the right to work but not to the results of work. This sounds like a bad deal until you understand what it actually means. When you claim rights to results, you create anxiety before the action. Will I succeed? Tension during the action. Is this working? And either pride or depression after the action, based on the outcome. You're never at peace. But when you focus only on doing your duty excellently without claiming ownership of results, you experience peace before, during, and after the action. The work gets done better and you remain undisturbed regardless of outcomes. The duty download. Everyone has prescribed duties based on their nature, situation, and stage of life. A parent has duties to children. An employee has duties to employer. A citizen has duties to society. These aren't random obligations, they're your curriculum for spiritual development. When you perform these duties as offerings to Krishna rather than for personal benefit, they become yoga, a means of connecting with the divine. The same action that would normally bind you to karma instead becomes a path to liberation. The excellence effect. Here's what surprises people about karma yoga. It produces better material results than result-oriented work. Why? Because when you're not anxious about outcomes, you make better decisions. When you're not attached to fruits, you can focus fully on the process. When you're working for Krishna rather than your ego, you tap into a higher power. It's like the difference between a nervous student cramming for grades versus a curious student learning for joy. The curious student, paradoxically, often gets better grades. The offering attitude. The key to karma yoga is the offering attitude. Before starting any work, consciously offer it to Krishna. I'm doing this as your service for your pleasure with the abilities you've given me. This simple shift changes everything. Now you're not working. Krishna is working through you. You're not achieving. Krishna is achieving through you. This isn't abdication of responsibility but elevation of consciousness. The failure freedom. In karma yoga, failure becomes impossible. If you do your duty with sincerity and offer it to Krishna, you've already succeeded regardless of material outcomes. The offering is the success, not the result. This doesn't make you careless. You still work for excellence because that's what you offer to Krishna, your best effort. But your peace doesn't depend on whether that effort produces the expected result. The daily practice. Start with small actions. Making breakfast? Offer it to Krishna first. Commuting to work? Use the time for spiritual contemplation. In meetings? See yourself as Krishna's representative, serving others through your role. Gradually expand this consciousness to encompass everything. Every email becomes devotional service. Every conversation becomes spiritual practice. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to depend on Krishna. The productivity paradox. People worry that without attachment to results, they'll become lazy or unmotivated. The opposite happens. When you're working for Krishna, you have access to unlimited energy. When you're free from anxiety, you work more efficiently. When you're not wasting energy on worry, you have more energy for action. Tomorrow's revelation. Karma yoga transforms work, but what about enjoyment? Tomorrow we're going to explore the secret of spiritual pleasure, how to enjoy more than ever while being less attached than ever. You're about to discover why Krishna consciousness doesn't mean giving up enjoyment. It means discovering the highest form of enjoyment possible.